Hello students, let us see what are the modes of opening a file. A very important question which has been asked regularly in the exams. Explain the various modes of opening a file, or what are the modes of opening a file. The first thing which I should remember is where exactly we use these modes of opening a file. We use this with a command called as fopen, which will say the second argument as mode, which will be enclosed as a single character within these double quotes. The characters which we generally use for opening a mode are R, W and A, and we have some additional modes called as R plus, W plus and A plus. Let's first discuss what exactly mean by R, W, A, and then we can go ahead with these remaining modes. If the first mode is associated as R, in that case, what this particular mode indicates? Whenever a file is opened under R mode, it means that the file is used for read operations only. Now, in this case, you have to even write what if the file doesn't exist and what if the file exists. If the file doesn't exist, in that case, fopen will be an unsuccessful operation which returns a null value to a pointer. And if it is a successful operation, in that case, fopen will always return the address of the file. So R mode, if I have to describe R mode, you have to write 3 points on this particular R mode. So first thing is, it opens a file for read operations only. Point number 2. If a file doesn't exist, in that case, fopen will be unsuccessful and returns a null value to the pointer. Third point, if the file exists, in that case, it will return the address of the file and performs read operations on the file. W mode. If a file is used for W mode, you can create a new file for this operation. Whenever a file has to be created, we use W mode. So fopen with the W mode creates a new file. Now in such cases, what if a file exists? If a file exists, it will overwrite the previous contents, and if the file doesn't exist, it will create a new file. And in both the cases, if it is successful, it will return the address of the value, and if it is unsuccessful because of some system problems, it will automatically return a value called as null. In some cases, it is not advisable to overwrite the previous contents. It is advisable to add some contents to the existing file. In that case, we can use a mode called as A, which means that you can use a mode A so that you can avoid overwriting the previous contents and still add a new contents to the existing file. So whenever a file has to be opened and added at the end, use append mode, and if a file has to be created newly, in that case use W mode. What if a file doesn't exist under A mode? In that case, it will work similar to W mode. If a file exists, it will open a file and place the control at the end of the file so that it can transfer the content. Suppose if this is the file and if these are the contents, A mode will transfer the content at the end so that it will start adding the contents at the end. And if the file doesn't exist, in that case it will open a file and starts placing at the beginning, which is similar to W mode. So R, W and A are called as specific modes which are used for read, write and append respectively. What if I have to go out for a combination? If I have to go out for a combination, in that case we can use R plus, W plus and A plus. If I want to open a file for both read as well as write operations, in that case go for W plus. Sorry, R plus, which means that you can open a file for read as well as write operation. W plus, you can open a file for write as well as append plus. A plus, you can open a file for read, write as well as append plus. But the only thing is that with A plus, you will not be able to modify any of those existing contents. So remember to write few points about each and every mode. I'll spell it one more time, one last revision. R stands for read, which means that the file is opened for read mode which says that this file, if it exists, it will open a file. If it doesn't exist, it will return a null value to the pointer. W is used to create a new file for write operations. If the file doesn't exist, it will create a new file with that particular name and opens the file in write mode. If the file doesn't exist, in that case, if the file exists, it will overwrite the previous contents. A, append mode, the file is opened in append mode, which means that if the file exists, it will transfer the control at the end of the file. If the file doesn't exist, it will create a new file and transfers and place the control at the beginning of the file, which is similar to a W mode. If you want to go for a combination of read write or write append or read write append, in that case you can go for these modes R plus, W plus and A plus. Thank you.